Welcome to this very first episode of Mission Impact, the inauguration of not just a series, but I would say a movement where we're putting social entrepreneurship at the front and center of the conversation. And joining me to do this is the boss of IDFC First, Mr. V. Vaidyanathan. Vaidya sir, thank you so much for your time on this and to really go through something which is very important and close to all of our hearts, I know to your heart as well, the importance of social entrepreneurship. Thank you.
Thank you.
So let's start with defining what is social entrepreneurship in your view, because is it as simple as entrepreneurship aimed at bettering society, or is there more nuance?
I think you put it well. I think entrepreneurship aimed at bettering society. They measure their success by the impact they make to society, and of course, they are a profitable venture for sustainability.
You know, when we talk about entrepreneurship by itself, and this is something that if you could clear for me as well, we talk about entrepreneurship as a building block of the economy. Someone opens a steel mill, hires and gives job to 400 people, you're feeding that many families and, you know, individuals coming in. Would that not be a more important contribution than social entrepreneurship, or is there, you know, an overlap there which we need to understand?
The key thing about social entrepreneurship, I'll give an example just to make a point. You know, we came across an entrepreneur, for example, who was working in the area of, say, chicken feed, right? Not chicken feed, you know, the world over people consume chicken. So what happens to the feathers? So there was an entrepreneur who was collecting all the feathers. They were asking rag pickers to pick up those feathers, and they were converting to paste. And with the paste, they were making, you know, blankets and so on and so forth, right? They had developed some technology around that. You know, a lesser quality or whatever it is, they were using for making paper. And the final residual use they were using for maybe even feeding the fish. So therefore, you know, kilograms and, you know, millions of kilograms of quantum of such, you know, waste material coming, I think they call it chicken waste or something like that, right? So they were enabling that to happen. So my sense is that, like putting a steel mill, like you said, is also adding value, but disposing of these feather pieces in a safe manner and putting to good use is also social entrepreneurship, but it's actually social entrepreneurship at a direct level.
So the direct level part is important. So let's break it up. What are the kind of facets that you think are important to address and you see? And what comes to mind, say you talk about sanitation, waste management, health, pollution. Do you think that these are now very, very important issues that sometimes in everyday life and everyday business that we tend to ignore?
Yeah, we tend to ignore. You can see the amount of, you know, plastic being generated, and people leave it. To try going to a beach, you know, in many parts of our own city, and you'll find, you know, plastic all around you, and, you know, fish are probably eating the same plastic. You feel really very, very bad. So if any entrepreneur is working on that space, it is of really good value. And I think, you know, we've come across people working in the area of, you were asking about social entrepreneurship, you know, people working in the area of, say, health, sanitation, education, even energy waste, or waste management, or climate, environment, even, let me say, even people who have difficulties, people with difficulties trying to get them employment. All of these things is actually part of, let me say, social entrepreneurship. And any entrepreneur working in these areas, I'd call them directly social entrepreneurship.
So, you know, these sound like great causes, good issues, great causes. Where is the business aspect of it? Because at the end of the day, you're a bank. You assess the credit worthiness of anyone that you lend to or do business with in any perspective. So where does the business aspect or the profitability or the business case come in?
You know, there was an entrepreneur who reached us the other day, and he said that, you know, all over India anyway, there are people, even salons, for example, using, say, air conditioners. So what this entrepreneur was doing was saying that, look, you know, if it's an individual salon, that salon owner doesn't have the ability to figure out when is the air conditioner catching, you know, is it going too cold a temperature, is it collecting dust, does it need maintenance? You don't have all such information. So this entrepreneur was actually having a remote, they were all IoT connected.
Oh.
IoT connected, he was setting up 5,000 air conditioners or probably more than that. And all the air conditioners being monitored remotely. So remotely, he was checking if the temperature is too low, if it's collecting dust, if it need maintenance. And therefore, and they were 5-star ACs, they were not 3-star ACs. I don't know if you're aware or not, but close to 70% of India air conditioners are 3-star ACs. These are 5-star ACs. 5-star meaning, by environment protection standards. So the short point is that being able to use technology to remotely monitor the air conditioners and monitor their ups and downs and to actually reuse them is actually using technology for this purpose.
So in this example, and this is a great example to take. So this entrepreneur comes to you and says that this is my business. What's the business case here? Who's paying him to do this remote testing? And how is it helping his business case, his balance sheet, as well as the customers?
From the customer's point of view, the customer's saving electricity.
Okay, so you're getting someone to check it for you.
Number two, from this entrepreneur's point of view, since they're purchasing maybe thousands of air conditioners at the same time, they're probably getting some economics of scale there. From our lender's point of view, as a bank point of view, you have to look at few things. End of the day, we are a lender. We have a social good, so to say, as part of a vision statement. We write it in our vision statement. We want to follow it, but it has to be economically viable. So how do we do that? So either we check whether the entrepreneur has enough equity and net worth and ability to raise capital. Does he have enough, or he or she in this case a he, has adequate, ownership or family capital to support into it, or does he have his own capital to put into it? How the cash flows are, what kind of private equity firms are backing the person, if at all, or not. We see a number of these factors before we lend to them.
To bring this into a bank as a culture, how much of a challenge is that, and how has that journey been?
Actually, apart from lending, there are just so many angles about how an organization, rank and file, think about environment. This ESG thing is not a woke thing, it's a real thing, okay? For example, debit cards. Now, it's got nothing with credit. Nothing to do with credit.
Okay.
But our bank certainly thought about it that, look, people are spending how many kilograms of plastic issuing debit cards or credit cards. So our team went and found out somebody who issues recycled plastic so that you don't, print out such more plastic. So for our internal employees now, we're issuing recycled plastic. We opened an office in Goregaon the other day, and it's kind of a large office. It's not a branch. And the entire decoration of that office was done, and look, you should see it if you can. It's pretty beautiful. Basically, what they've done is they've used mouse, wires, some of the, e-waste, so to say, okay, and maybe computer parts, or a keypad, and they have made a complete, beautiful, let me say, designs out of that. So using e-waste to create that, using tribal people to create, art for the bank. So, you try to build all that as part of the model. So at every stage to think like that. Don't use plastic, use debit card.
Smallest to the biggest decision.
Smallest to biggest. For a debit card, don't use this, use that. Don't laminate, use cardboard. So every stage it has to ingrain.
Let's talk a bit more.
At least we are trying. I don't even claim that we are achieve mastery over it.
Yeah.
But we are thinking about it all the time at the bank.
No, it's great. It's great if a leading private bank is actually thinking on those lines and embedding it into their day-to-day business. That's great. So, which is why let's come back to a few more of those examples.
I think people are becoming more conscious. It's not just normal bank. It's not just only our bank. If you think of how RBI is talking to banks these days, they're bringing the word ESG into it. They're asking us to be more sensitive. Government is more sensitive about it. So I think that the whole ecosystem is...
Are you seeing more of a trend where companies which are coming to you for loans are coming with that backdrop that we want to do good?
More than coming to us, I am actually seeing the next generation itself as a younger generation now becoming more socially entrepreneur. But to more specifically on your question, for example, for example, there was this company which had a, let me say, stethoscope, in remote location, like people like you and me, if you're in metro, if we have an issue with, say, thyroid or vitamin D or B12 deficiency, we can go to a nearby place, check it out, etc. But for remote location, they don't have that much access and all that stuff. And even if they got a blood report by some local person somewhere in the village, there is no ability to, let me say, no ability to infer it immediately and so on and so forth. So someone we know actually had developed a AI supported, IoT enabled stethoscope.
Wow.
AI supported, internet enabled, IoT enabled blood checking. So when you have these capabilities that was being done traditionally, even stethoscope, blood checking, they've been done before also. But moment you connect a technology on it, they become much more, let me say, you can give much more insights to the person who's taking the reading. So such entrepreneurs are reaching us. Either we can support them through funding, or we can probably give them a grant, or some of these names I told you, the IoT enabled institutions or companies, we are actually bringing them through a process for displaying them on a larger canvas. For example, we ran a program for them where we ran a boot camp. And these social entrepreneurs, they bubbled up through a process and came out among the top 8 or 10. So I believe that there is a general bias, not only for our organization, but I think generally there is a bias towards, like positive bias towards environment now.
Yeah.
Generally in the system.
So more and more, I think younger entrepreneurs want to look at what the outcome of their work really
Not just
is.
outcome. If you see the youth these days, if you tell them, look, we'll plant a tree on your name, they'll feel enthused by that. If you try and dirty the environment, or you throw plastic somewhere in the beach, and if you're a kid of 18 or 20 with you, the kid will immediately point out to you saying that, what are you doing?
More aware.
Yeah, they're more aware. And I actually see it as a very positive development.
So how do you take this beyond just what we are talking about right now? Because we're talking in the context of mission impact. How do you think this can become a movement where there is more awareness all around about social good and entrepreneurship going together? Do you think that this is something that should be taught in universities, that more companies should come together on this?
Well, that I think will be really very good. I like the idea. It's at least we haven't thought about this, but I think it's a really great point, because universities, you see the young generation, of course, like I just said before, they are sensitive about this subject of environment. I have seen many. Now, entrepreneurship, they are interested. Social, they're interested. So by definition, social entrepreneurship, I think they will be interested. So in universities, in management schools, in campuses, undergrad colleges, if this is social entrepreneurship, a subject is taught, social good entrepreneurship, I do think it will make a big difference. I can tell you that many of these angel investors will want to support that. Venture firms will want to support that. I think it's a good direction to go. And
as we wrap up, what is your message on social entrepreneurship and the mission impact we're talking about?
No, before we go there for my message, I want to just add one more input to you. One angle we did not cover, but I do want to bring them out for special compliment, is actually the NGOs. Okay, because we talked of entrepreneurship as a big deal, but I believe that a large number of let me say, even NGOs are working some high quality work on doing some high quality. Even the feather example I was giving you earlier, I think it's called Golden Feathers or something. That actually is an NGO, I think probably turned entrepreneur or something. The short point I want to leave is that when you think of oceans, riverbeds, cleaning the beach, reducing the plastic, finding alternative solutions, etc., or even making people aware of these issues. Many NGOs are working in these areas. We are working with many of them. I think NGOs are also doing a good job, and we want to appreciate that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, as your closing statement really on this series that we're kicking off, and we want to do together to highlight some of these companies, what would be your message to those entrepreneurs out there who are right now sitting with an idea, but they don't know if it will be accepted?
No, first of all, I want to say that this is a really important segment of society. There is a ecosystem that is now more aware, and frankly, it is so important, I can't tell you. Last year, there was a heat wave, massive heat wave. There were floods in Tamil Nadu. What is all this? There's a mess going around the system. Maybe I think human beings are messing it up more than any other species. So therefore, for any social entrepreneurs, to your point, we must say that, look, your job is really very important. I want to say that. And, there is also ecosystem that is willing to support you and have confidence and go and build what you can build. I can tell you that you will get more support, not less than any other regular entrepreneurship.
Wow. So on that very positive note, thank you so much, sir, for speaking with us today.
Thank you.